Hi Nigel, something's been bothering me for a little while. And it's the fact that people seem to think that you're very clever, whereas I've always said I don't think you are. I've always thought that you're just a brilliant communicator, a blackguard, if you like. You make out that you're the ultimate patriot of the UK. Yet Brexit did us so much harm. And surely the ultimate patriot would hold an internal investigation to find out if anybody else in his party has been compromised by the Russians. But since listening to your Bloomberg interview and actually hearing how fragile you are, I've sort of been trying to work out what it is that makes you tick. And I came across this hypothesis online and I thought I'd share it with you. Now, full disclosure, the finance guy is probably somebody like me who doesn't think that you're legit. And he's been doing lots of investigations of his own, into your finances, which I have to say do sound a bit dodge. But he did pose a really interesting question to Grok. Now, I've left his prompts up here for you to see because he didn't actually lead Grok to a conclusion. But the hypothesis basically was, could somebody that was a trader back in the 80s, who maybe wasn't as successful a trader as they wanted to be, and who blamed the Maastricht Treaty for the problems that they had in becoming successful, which led that person to leave the Conservatives, they were so cross about it. Like, could that person, if they were a sort of person that bore a grudge, could they blame the EU for their lack of success and then been on a political mission ever since to try and downgrade the EU in terms of Britain? No, like starting a political party. And blow me down, because Grok came back with your name, a commodities trader that specialised in metals, working in London in the 1990s, who blamed his lack of success on the Maastricht Treaty, leaving him to leave that industry, leave the Tories, form his own party, and waging a lifelong campaign against EU federalism. So anyway, I went a little bit further back, because this Bloomberg interview really stuck in my mind. Because you're really not an intellect, are you? Like, it was quite unusual, given that your parents paid for you to go to Dulwich College, which is really expensive. It's unusual that you went straight into the city to work as a trader. Like, it is odd, given that background, that you didn't go to university. Like, you've always claimed that school was a little bit boring. So you followed your dad into the stock exchange. But there's no evidence of you actually being a good trader or a successful trader. In fact, I guess there's quite a strong argument for saying you were a nepo trader, i.e. it was nepotism that got you your job. So maybe Dulwich College just gave you your confidence, a confidence that maybe covered the fact you had very little substance. So I'm wondering whether your lack of intellect sort of made you a compensatory narcissist. Like, you love the grand statements of you're the only person in the country that has ever built a political movement. You're very anti-education. I mean, this is news. I'm not the only one to have ever called you a narcissist. Like, I wonder if it's more than just you're following the money when you slag off the World Health Organization, for example, when they say stuff like smoking kills, because you're getting money from the tobacco industry. Maybe it's just you don't understand the science. Even today, you were talking about denying the fact that we're in a climate change crisis. Now, admittedly, you're getting money from the fossil fuel industry as well. But maybe you just don't understand the science. It's like you're so resentful that industries became regulated that you want to take us back to that time. Even today, in today's press conference, you were talking again about going back to a time when there was no regulation, which was so risky, that was so damaging to the country. But I think you're just chasing the money. You keep holding press conferences because you love the conversation being around you. You're a compensatory narcissist. But every single one of the policies that you've announced has been completely torn apart a few days later. No critical thinking. It's like you see yourself as something special, something invincible. But maybe that's because you're just compensating for what you couldn't do. You couldn't go to university. You needed a hand up to get you into a job. And even in that job, you weren't very successful, but you couldn't take that responsibility yourself, so you blamed the Maastricht Treaty for it. And like a typical narcissist, as soon as somebody calls you out for the fraud that you are, you attack them. Ask Rupert Lowe. You stick close to the same witless people that believe the bollocks that you're speaking. People who are every bit as clueless as you. You can't actually cope with scrutiny. You'll just say whatever, whenever. But I don't think you're doing it to be a traitor. I think you're doing it to line your own pockets. I don't think you've ever been a patriot. Like, what if you only went for Brexit because you were sulking at the country? What if Brexit to you was just the ultimate trader deal? The one that showed you finally that you could have been a great trader. It was, after all, the night that you essentially owned the stock market. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud. I suppose my next question would be, why do the press indulge you? But maybe we'll look at that on another day. Anyway, thanks for coming to my stream of consciousness, as you were.